Hi everybody, what I'm gonna do today is the Beatles' most important or revolutionary songs, uh, in my opinion. And these are not necessarily the songs that I consider as their best. Many, for many of them, I consider uh, as their best, but not every song. So what I mean by important or revolutionary songs is the songs that mark their career, uh, songs with social impact, uh, innovative songs, so songs that mark their career. And this is an idea from one of my viewer, and his name is Gabriel Valite. I just hope that I pronounce your well. You, I just hope that I pronounce your name correctly. So thanks, Gabriel, for the idea. This is a great idea, very original. And what I wanted to do at first, it was a top 10 songs list, but I realized that it was almost impossible because the Beatles wrote so many important or revolutionary songs. So my top 10 songs list turned to a 12, the top 12 songs list, then it turned to a top 15, and it turned to a top 20. And at the last minute, I added two more songs. So I have a 22 songs list here, and I'm not gonna rank the songs. Uh, I'm just gonna start from the beginning of their career till the end of their career. So it's gonna be a chronological order. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna reveal to you this the song that I consider as their most important song, and the one song that I consider as their most revolutionary song. So anyway, let's start right away. So the first song I pick is She Loves You. And I think the reason is really simple. That song had great impact. It was their first 1 million selling single. And with that song, the Beatlemania started. The Beatlemania phenomenon started in England and in Europe. Next song I pick is I Wanna Hold Your Hand. And like everybody knows, with that song, the Beatles, what happened? They went into North America, they went into the United States, and the Beatlemania became, with that song, a worldwide phenomenon. And of course, the Beatles became worldwide stars, international stars. Next song from the Hard Day's Night album, and with a Hard Day's Night, the sound change. It was a big step, even if it was only their third album, with the inclusion here of George electric 12-string Rickenbacker guitar. Uh, their sound changed, and these songs were not just rock and roll songs anymore. It became more pop. And the first song from that album that came out as a single, I think it was in March, it was released in March or April, and it was Can Buy Me Love. So it was the first song with that famous electric 12 string Rickenbacker guitar. And so it was an improvement regarding the quality of the sound, and it forced other artists, other bands like the Beach Boys to improve the quality of their songs. And from that point, they started to write better songs like I Get Around. And it was probably the first example or an early, really early example of would of what was called a video, but in those days it was called promo films. Uh, in the movie, when we hear that song "Can Buy You Love" and we can see the Beatles running everywhere in a baseball field, so for me it looked like an early example of video. Okay, next song, song number 4 that I picked is the title song, A Hard Day's Night. Uh, Once again, we have that famous 12-string Rickenbacker guitar, and we have that famous opening guitar riff at the beginning of the song. It was something totally new, and it changed the life of many people. I think the the whole movie, but the song also, and people like Roger McGuinn, David Crosby, formed the Birds, and many other people started to play with Rickenbacker guitar and Ludwig drums. Next song I pick at number 5 from Beatles For Sale is I'm a Loser. It was their first serious song. Uh, it was their first song with the Bob Dylan influence, and it was also probably the first song with the country folk flavor. Song number 6 is I Feel Fine. It was the first example, it was the first Beatles song with a feedback effect at the beginning of the song, and it was one of the first pop rock song with a feedback effect in it. Okay, next at number 7, song number 7 from the Help album. It's the song Help, and it wasn't only a good rock song like John used to say, but he sang Help for a kickoff, and so because of that, I think we should look at the song as an autobiographical song. Okay, next song that I picked still from the same album, Yesterday, another serious song, and Paul was Beatles, the only Beatle appearing on that recording. It was him, his guitar and strings, and it was the first time that that kind of thing happened. And it was also an important song for me because it was their most, Yesterday became their most played and most covered song ever. Next song, song number 9, I think, from Rubber Soul, and it's Nowhere Man, which was their first surreal song, and it's also not only because it was their first surreal song, but also because it was uh, their most complex song regarding the vocal harmonies at that point. It was their most complex song. That song was really hard, like the Beatles said in the anthology. That song was really hard to perform live because of the vocal harmonies. Next song, number 10, I think, still from Rubber Soul, which is Norwegian Wood. And this is really interesting here. This is really funny because Norwegian Wood is a song by John, but it became famous because of the sitar. I mean, the melody was good, the lyrics were good, but the inclusion of the sitar here was something really interesting. It was totally new. It was the first Beatles song with sitar, and it was the first pop pop rock song with sitar anyway, and it influenced the Rolling Stones with Painting It Black, and also bands like the Birds. They did songs like Fifth Dimension. There wasn't there was no sitar inclusion in that song for Fifth Dimension, but with the guitar they tried to they tried to imitate the sound of the sitar, and I think that song it give it gave another dimension, another dimension to the Beatles music, because here George found his identity. I think if we listen to other songs that he wrote by himself in the following years, I Love You Too, With and You Without You, The Inner Light. So after Norwegian Wood, when we heard songs like Love You Too, Within You, Without You, The Inner Light, we knew for sure that it was George. Okay, song number 11, still from Rubber Soul, and it's In My Life. It's another autobiographical, probably their most autobiographical song, and it was at the same time uh, one of their best, or probably their best song lyrically. I mean, I think if I had to choose my favorite Beatles song lyrically, it would be probably In My Life. Okay, song number 12. This one is the single, but it was included on in the Beatles Past Masters, and it's Rain. It was that song became the first song with backwards lyrics and backwards guitar, and it became, with that song Rain, with the single Rain and Paperback Writer, it became the first song with first real video song, even if in those days it were called promo films. They probably influenced MTV, like George said in the anthology. And if we look at the music, there is a big it's a big step. There's a big improvement if we listen to the bass work and the drum work. That was something great. Next song, number 13 from Revolver, and it's Eleanor Rigby. Very philosophical song, maybe the most philosophical song, but philosophical and surreal at the same time, because this song it was like a fictional story about a real person called Eleanor Rigby, and it was a story about loneliness, isolation, all the lonely people, where do they all belong? And it was totally different from their other songs. That song had nothing to do with rock and roll. It was an acoustic guitar and strings, and that was that. Song number 14, still from Revolver, and it's Tomorrow Never Knows, a one chord song, but with a lot of weird sound effects, and I think people's reaction it was probably, what are the Beatles doing? What's that song? It was totally but totally different from all their songs, and It's one of their most revolutionary songs. Okay, next song. That song came out first as a single before Sgt. Pepper, but it finally came out on the US Magical Mystery Tour, and that song is Strawberry Fields Forever. And it marked another big step. I think it's the first song of the psychedelic. Of course, Tomorrow Never Knows was really psychedelic, but Strawberry Fields was the first official psychedelic song, maybe of the psychedelic period, because after that they released the Sgt. Pepper album and the US Magical Mystery Tour album and the Yellow Submarine album. All these songs, for a lot of them, were psychedelic. And it was also the first time in that video, but first, for the music, regarding the music, it was the first time that the Beatles used a mellotron, I think, and John's voice sounded so unusual. I mean, it was something very different from the early songs. In the early songs, it was easy to say, okay, John is singing for that song, and I love her. Okay, that's Paul. If I fell, it's John. I'm happy just to dance with you. It's George. But here, the first time I heard that song, I remember my reaction was, okay, who's singing? Okay, that's John. But and it was the first time also in the promo film that we could see John wearing his famous round glasses. That was a very psychedelic song. The lyrics, the imageries were really psychedelic. Okay, the next song I choose from the Sgt. Pepper album, it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Okay, like Strawberry Fields Forever, this is another, it wasn't their first psychedelic song, but it was probably their most psychedelic. When I say what I mean by that, their most psychedelic song, I think it was regarded as their most psychedelic song just because of the title. And of course, according to John, it wasn't a song about LSD, but it sounded like a LSD song anyway, just because of the title, Lucy Sky Diamonds. And everything sounded psychedelic, the music, the lyrics, the imageries, and so I think it's a real important song. And it was, I think the song, it was the first song banned by the BBC. I know that A Day in the Life was banned, but I think Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was the first song banned by the BBC because it was considered as a drug song. Okay, next song, A Day in the Life, another psychedelic song, and I think this song is really famous for these two parts, John's part and Paul's part combined together, and we have between these two parts that famous musical ascension, and it's really famous. And I also think that's the best song of all time in my opinion, so that's why I included it in the live. Okay, next song is All You Need Is Love, and this is not the song that I would include in my top 10 or even my top 20, but first of all, it was their first, in my opinion, their first peace and love song. They wrote a couple of other peace and love songs like It's All Too Much, Baby, You're a Rich Man. So these three songs were peace and love or hippie movement songs. And the TV performance, the All You Need Is Love TV performance was their first worldwide TV satellite. Uh, I mean, 400 billion people from 25 countries uh, watch that performance via satellite. Okay, next song is Revolution, and it was their first heavy song. At that point, it was their most heavy song, their most engaged song, their most political song, their most anti-war song. Next, from the White Album, Helter Skelter. And even if Revolution was an heavy song, Helter Skelter, when Helter Skelter came out, it became their most heavy number, their heaviest song. And it was probably one of the first one of the first heavy metal songs, or it influenced the heavy metal. Anyway, it was their most chaotic song. Next, now from Let It Be, and it's the title song, Let It Be. Uh, this is a song of acceptance. It's a, it sounds like a testament song. Uh, there will be an answer, let it be, da da da. And when we listen to the music, the lyrics, it sounds like a religious song, even if it's not a religious song, because Mary is Paul's mother, but it could be the, the Virgin Mary when we listen to the music, to the lyrics. So I think it's a real important song. And the last song I picked from Abbey Road is The End, because it was officially it was the it was the last song they wrote, and it was another heavy song, and this is the first and only song with 3 guitar solos, one by John, one by Paul, one by George, and it's also the only Beatles song with a drum solo, because we never heard Ringo uh, doing a drum solo in any other song. So I think for that reason that song is really important. So that was it, and like I said, now I'm gonna reveal to you the song that I consider as their most important first, and I'm gonna reveal also the song that I consider as their most revolutionary. So for me, the Beatles' most important song is also their best song, and it's also the best song of all time, in my opinion, and it's A Day in the Life from the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. And their most revolutionary song, in my opinion, is a song from Revolver, and it's Tomorrow Never Knows. And I think when Revolver came out, when Tomorrow Never Knows came out, I think that with that everything changed after that. And the songs, the albums were considered as an artwork, not a song collection anymore. So that's why I picked these two songs, A Day in the Life, as their most important song, and Tomorrow Never Knows as their most revolutionary song. And maybe some other songs could be included in that list, and so that's why you can leave me your comments. You can leave the titles of other songs that you maybe consider as real Beatles important song. So thanks for watching. So you can leave your comments and thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. So thanks for watching.